over the last 10 years. Now, none of that money comes from the taxes on the home. It comes strictly from the taxes paid from the value of those new properties constructed. And then the long-term goal of that is once those obligations are satisfied and we close that district, all that value from all those construction projects reduces everybody's taxes. When the TIF 1 closes, we're looking at $300 or $400 a year savings per household forever moving forward because of all the new development that's come in the last 10, 15 years here. So in the long term, it's a good thing for the community because it broadens our tax base. It's a good thing for the community because hopefully we get projects that enhance the community, engage in getting some new vitality in the community for this redevelopment. So at least that's the premise we all hope we're achieving when we do that.
Do you know what's the ratio of property taxes between commercial and residential?
I don't know that. I can look it up pretty easily if you want to give me a call.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Share it with me and I'll start next meeting with that fun fact.
Okay, that's a fun fact.
That's what
That'll
we're
be
gonna
my
do.
fun fact.
That'll be Mark's fun
I'm
fact.
an accountant, so I really don't have any personal fun.
My wife and I are both CPAs, so.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. We're predominantly residential yet.
Okay, I was just curious.
Because of the density, there's so many houses so close together. But I'll get that together.
Has anyone here talked about what's happened in California where they're, with the tax bill that passed, where they're making efforts at the state level so that the property tax can be considered a charitable deduction so you can still get it as a complete deduction on your federal income tax? Locally or at the state level?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Obviously, California leads the rest of the country by a decade or two in most cases. And type of things that they try to engage in and see how that goes. But nothing in Wisconsin that I've heard. But again, the new tax code just passed weeks ago, so it wouldn't be out of this realm of possibility that many governments at the state level in particular will start looking at options or provide their own programs.
How many employees total for the village?
84 full-time equivalents. Also related to the debt service fund, again, this is really what funds our major infrastructure programs. It's long-term infrastructure-based projects, high dollar value. This is an excerpt from our most recent long-range plan. And don't worry, it's already out of date because it's 6 months old, but we do it every year. We constantly revise it. These are projects in 2018 that are slated, the Wilson Drive reconstruction project, Lake Drive resurfacing. This is an ongoing program that Public Works does working for sewer related. It's to stop leaking pipes in the ground so it doesn't just flow into the sewers from rainwater. Police facility is not done yet. They're operational, but they've got more work to do on that. And then in 2019, we've got some second phase of our initiative to start tackling our alleys behind the properties. Some more street lighting boxes that controls our traffic or light street light signals. Those are all getting to the point where they're going to start having trouble even finding parts to replace. So we're going to replace a couple of those a year. Some work at our DPW facilities, which are from the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
From the 20s. And then some work down at our Hubbard Park parking lot there. That's getting a little shabby, so we're going to try to improve that. But those are the things we're going to look to be borrowing for in this summer for to fund 2018, 2019, and those will be paid back through payment of bonds over the next 20 years or so.
I'm familiar with the resurfacing of Lake Drive. I believe though, as part of that information, the state will be rebuilding Lake Drive, which will be more extensive than resurfacing. Is that totally a state project, or will be any matching local funds be required?
So there's going to be matching local money. If you go to the finance department website, I do have the full long-range plan, which looks out all the way to 2027. And it has various projects. Again, you'll see some things that may or may not even have data on these lines, and that's because they're over here, they're coming. But again, we try to manage our priority. We can't do everything at once, and we can't put off everything forever. So this is our tool to kind of see what's coming and try to figure out, how to prioritize those projects and the bigger picture of trying to manage the needs of the community.
Mark, if you just want to finish your slides real
Yeah.
quick, and then if there's any other questions,
Here's a list of
We can do those at
the
the
other
end.
stuff I talked about for capital projects, different types of heavy equipment, major capital projects, North Shore Fire Department squads, Atwater Beach, we're going to get those stairs replaced this year. Those are not funded, these here are not funded by bonds, those are funded through taxes. We also operate 3 utilities, parking, water, and sewer. The general gist of all this is there's no rate increases for any of that. It's all status quo. We're doing pretty good with that. So we've got no planned rate increases coming up. Again, just quickly, 38% of our expenditures for water go to Milwaukee Water Works for the purchase of water from their treatment. 39% for sewer goes to MMSD for treatment for our wastewater. And then we manage the remainder of those budgets for operations and maintenance of our underground infrastructure. And that's it. Couple minutes over, sorry about that, but any last questions? Tyler, you have some wrap-up stuff? You can certainly call me at my office. I'm on the website. You can link in there. I'm happy to answer any specific questions. Again, this is just a real 2018 budget framework kind of discussion, not meant to get too detailed on all the items.
maybe if you just want to stay a minute or two after Mark, if there's any other questions. I know Mark mentioned TIF, and I think TIF is something that comes up. Mike Harrigan, who's part of the session 3, will be going more in depth about TIF and how that's impacted some of the economic development projects. So, so that's, if you're wondering, when am I going to learn about TIF, that's when you're going to learn more about TIF.
Okay.
So if you have questions on that, I would wait till session 3. Mike Harrigan's from Ellers, who is a consultant that we use on a lot of our economic development projects, so he'll be able to touch on that a lot. I'd save the last minute or two in case any of you have any announcements. If you're part of a volunteer group, maybe it's something with work, an event that's coming up that you want to publicize to the group. Anyone want to share any announcement at all? Sure.
Okay. So I'm part of the Shorewood Solidarity Network. This past summer, we worked with the board and the kind of interim village manager that was here before Becky got hired to pass a resolution for justice and dignity. We're currently working on putting together some policy to present to the board. But we do have an event that's coming up February 26th. You can find us on Facebook. You can come reach out to me. It's a storytelling event that we're putting on, and yes, it's also a good way to be part of a group that is trying to make Shorewood a good place for everybody, whether you live here or you're a worker or just simply passing through.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Okay. Session 2, elected officials. So we'll be having all of our elected officials attend. that represent you, ranging from local, state, all across the board, counties. So we'll be in the Village Center, so make sure to go to the Village Center. That'll be in the lower level, kind of that large conference room that's right below the library. So if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, okay? I'll send that agenda out tomorrow. Thank you everyone for coming. Have a good weekend. We're supposed to